Hello, in this video we're going to be tackling bank recon. At the beginning of this video we're going to talk about basically the key touchstones that you need to understand on bank recon, and then towards the end of the video we're going to do a question, and eventually at the end I will be expecting you to understand everything about bank recon. So the video is likely going to be a bit long, but eventually it tackles everything that you need to know about this important concept. So when we talk about bank recon, we are reconciling the bank account in our books with the bank statement from the bank. In accounting, we prepare our books as a company, and then we need to compare what we have in our books with what the bank has. This is done so as to stop embezzlement of funds and to be able to identify cash flow challenges as soon as they appear. So we have the bank account in our books, and that will be compared with the bank statement from the bank. Ideally, because the two record essentially the same transactions, they should agree. Transactions in our CRJ and CPJ should be the same as those on the bank statement, right? So all the transactions that are cash, that are done in form of cash, are either recorded in the cash receipts journal or cash payments journal. So cash receipts journal is for all cash receipts, all the cash that's coming into the company, and cash payments journal are all the cash payments made to the by the company, right? So cash receipts will be the positive of the bank, because we are recording all monies coming into the company, and cash payments journal is the negative. Now the cash receipts will then be compared with the credit side of the bank statement, because the bank shows all positive transactions or all monies that are coming to the company on the credit side. So the cash receipts journal is compared with the credit side of the bank statement, and the cash payments journal is compared with the debit side. The bank recon statement, just like the bank statement, increases on the credit side and decreases on the debit side. Alright, so essentially what happens with the bank recon statement is more like an extension of the bank statement. In the bank recon, you just need to know that since in the bank statement all positive transactions are on the credit, they should also be on the credit of the bank recon. And all negative transactions, in other words, all outflows, are going to be on the debit of the bank statement, therefore on the debit of the bank recon. So essentially the bank recon is more like an extension of the bank statement, and all transactions that the bank still needs to take care of should be transferred to the bank recon. If a transaction rightfully appears on the CRJ but not on the bank statement, add the transaction to the bank recon on the credit side, right? So if the transaction appears in the cash receipts journal, which means we have recorded in our books that we have received money, but perhaps it's a check, or the money hasn't been deposited in the bank account, you need to show that transaction and the bank recon on the credit side. If a transaction rightfully appears on this cash payments journal but not on the bank statement, add the transaction on the debit side of the bank recon. Remember, all the transactions that the bank still needs to take care of are added to the bank recon. So bank recon are just those transactions that the bank still needs to take care of. All transactions not yet recorded in our books are added to the CPJ and CRJ. So in your analysis, you have already added. So the first thing that you've done there is to add transactions that are there in your cash receipts and cash payments to your bank recon. And then you're done with that. You're now looking again at the bank. Now you're looking at the bank statement, and you are considering transactions that are there on the bank statement but not in our cash receipts or cash payments, right? So if a transaction rightfully appears on the bank statement but not there on the cash receipts or cash payments, you just add it to the cash receipts or cash payments, and that's it. If given the previous month bank recon, check if transactions on it are appearing on the current month bank statement. If not, add them to the recon unless a reason not to is provided. So they can give you a reason that, well, we expected this deposit, we expected to pay this check, but unfortunately the check get lost, or maybe the check is now stale, the person that we wrote it to never showed up with the check. You see, so such transactions might mean that therefore the money doesn't have to go out of the bank, and hence they shouldn't be written on the bank record. So unless they give you a reason, you should show a transaction from the previous month bank record on the current month bank record. Stale check issued should be reversed by putting them in the CRJ. Alright, so a stale check is a check that is over 6 months, and therefore the bank will not honor it. So what you just need to do, because you wrote the check and you gave it to someone, and that someone did not go to the bank and collect their money, so you just need to reverse the check. So since when you wrote it, we were paying, and therefore you included the check on the cash payments journal, you need to reverse it by including it on the cash receipts journal. Errors should be corrected where they happened. If it is a bank error, it is corrected on the bank record. So say for instance the bank deposits money into your account which does not necessarily belong to you. You need to go and put the transaction on the debit side of the bank record, because that effectively takes out the money out of your account. An error on that overstates the CRJ will be corrected by increasing the CPJ. The total of the cash receipts is transferred to the debit side of the bank statement, and the total of the cash payments is transferred to the credit side of the account, and the account is balanced. The closing balance of the bank statement should agree with the balance as the bank account in your record, and that is what shows you whether you're doing the right thing or not. If the balance as the bank statement does not agree with your balance as the bank record, it's very then you might have to check what you would have left out. So these are basically the notes or the touchstones that you need to know before we tackle a question. And we are now going to be tackling a question on bank record. And the question that we have here reads: complete the cash receipts and cash payments journal of Beige Limited bank columns only. Prepare the bank account in the general ledger of Beige Services properly balanced, and prepare the correct bank record statement of Beige Limited. So those are the statements that we need to do. We need to do the cash receipts, cash payments, and we need to do the bank account as well as the bank record. Now, we're given the notes of what we have to follow. The question starts from here. This is a UNISA paper. That's a UNISA paper for October-November 2018. UNISA is the University of South Africa. Right, so we're just going to do the first question there, bank record statement. Right, so in order for us to be able to tackle this question, the first thing is for us to draw our cash receipts. So cash receipts, okay, I have to scroll this up. All right, cash receipts, which essentially, because we've been requested to show only the bank column, so this column here is the bank column. And then here we'll put our notes. Alright, so cash receipts journal like that, and then we'll also have the cash payments here. And then that's how it looks like. So this is basically our bank. Alright, and then we've been asked for the bank cash receipts, cash payments, and then the bank account. So we're gonna put the bank account here. So bank account, and then we've been asked to show the bank recon statement. Alright, and always remember that money is coming into the bank account, into the bank will be positive on the credit of the bank recon, and those going out will be negative there on the debit. Right. So we have drawn our accounts there. The next thing is for us to look at the transactions. So the following information pertains to badge services. An inexperienced bookkeeper prepared the following bank reconciliation statement. On 1 October 2017, the bank account of badge services had an unfavorable balance of 3370. Alright, so that's the balance for the bank account. So you come to the bank account, which we have here, balance brought down. Remember, the bank account is an asset account, so the balance will be on the debit, or assets increase on the debit. So opening balance favorable should be on the debit. If it's unfavorable, of course it goes on the credit side. Provisional totals at 31 October 2017. Cash receipts journal 35,000. Cash payments journal 32,230. Right. So you just go and you narrate them as subtotals. So here you come in your cash receipts, you write subtotal, and then you write 35,350, and then in your cash payments subtotal 32,230. Right. Remember, in the cash receipts, we record all monies that are coming into the organization as cash. And in the cash payments, all payments made by the organization as cash, we record them there. So the idea is a transaction is recorded in the cash receipts and cash payments, and also in the bank recon. So the idea of the bank recon is, the bank reconciliation is to reconcile what we have recorded in our books and what the bank has. So if a transaction is recorded in our books but not in the bank, we put it in the bank recon. But if it's already in the on the bank statement but not in our books, we'll put it in the cash receipts or cash payments journal. That's what we'll be doing for all the transactions. Alright, bank statement unfavorable of 32,402. Alright, so the balances per bank statement will go to the bank recon. Remember, the bank recon is more like an extension of the bank statement. So you will start with the unfavorable balance as the bank statement. Alright, and that amount is 32,402. Okay, now the next thing that you need to do, go to number 2. A deposit of 1,590 made on 31 October is not shown on the bank statement. So this amount is not shown on the bank statement, which means it's already shown in our books. So if a transaction is not on the bank statement, it needs to be recorded in the bank recon. On the bank recon, we record all transactions that the bank still needs to take care of. So you come deposit. So since it will increase our bank, we'll put it on the credit side of the bank recon, 5090. And then the bank has erroneously debited a stop order of 100 against the bank account of Page Services. Right, so they've erroneously debited us. So to correct the error, we should just put it on the credit side of the recon. It's an error which has happened in the bank. It should be corrected in the bank recon. It has not affected our books, so there's no need for us to take it to the cash receipts or cash payments. So the stop order error. That's 100. And now from there, the following checks issued by the entity have not yet been presented for payment. It means that we have recorded these checks already in our cash receipts, but they still need to be, the bank still hasn't shown them. Therefore, any transaction that the bank still needs to take care of should be shown in the bank recon. But these are monies that are going to go out of our bank, therefore we put them on the debit side. So check number 637 for 286, 640 for 319, and 641, that's for 83. That's all these checks that we have there. So they have not yet been presented for payment. We've already recorded that we've paid because we've paid through check, but the checks have not yet gone to our bank. Therefore, we need to record the transaction and the recon because the bank still needs to take care of those transactions. Number 3, the deposit of 22,000 dated 20th October 2017 had not been deposited into the bank account, and Sheila Shyster, the bookkeeper of Page Services, cannot account for the whereabouts of the cash. An insurance claim was submitted to big insurers. No entries were made in the books of Page Services regarding the loss of money. Right, so this money, 22,000, is never going to get to the bank because it's already lost. Therefore, our bank should not be affected by this transaction. It will never be taken out of our bank. Rather, if we need to reverse the deposit, in actual fact, we have not received it. We received it, but we no longer have it. So we'll record it as a payment because it's already taken by someone. So that's the 22,000 there. Under payments, deposit embezzled. Alright. B. Brooks, a debtor, paid an amount of 2,110 directly into Page Services bank account. The transaction has not yet been recorded in the entity's books. So this transaction already shows on the bank statement. There's no need for us to put it to the recon. We should just put it in our cash receipts because it's money that has been deposited. The bank credited 30 Rand interest to the entity's account. Right, so we received interest. Obviously, this interest shows on our bank statement. That's how we can find out. But it's not yet recorded in our books. Therefore, we record it in our cash receipts as well. 30 Rand, that's interest. And then check number 633 for 150 issued to Josmas Limited was entered as 510 in the cash payments journal, right? So we overstated our payments. Therefore, to correct that, we should reduce our payments by 510. But how do we do that? We should just put the difference between the two in our receipts. Therefore, the payments and the receipts will cancel out. So check error. That's for 510 minus 150. which gives us 360. Okay, bank charges for October amounted to 140. So those are bank charges. So bank charges will come here under the cash payments. Already they show on the bank statement, therefore there's no need for you to put them in the recon. You just put them under payments because they have not yet been entered in our payments. 140. A check for 250 received from A. Wilson was unpaid and is shown as such on the bank statement. A check for 250 received from A. Wilson was unpaid and is shown as such on the bank statement. A check for 250 received from A. Wilson was unpaid. So this is an unpaid check. It was not honored. So of course in our recon it's already entered as unpaid, and we thought that this person has paid us. Therefore we should correct our cash receipts, because when someone pays us we record it in our cash receipts, but this person essentially has given us a dummy, so we should put it here, unpaid check. $250. Now, as internal auditor, you notice that the check number 975 for 18,000 appeared on the bank statement but not in the cash payments journal. On investigation, you find that the check signed by the bookkeeper has been cashed. It was found that the check was stolen and the bookkeeper, S. Shyster, has signed all the checks in the checkbook in advance. The amount must be written off because the insurance company refused to pay out due to negligence. Right, so this money has already gone out of our bank statement. And you have noticed that the check appeared on the bank statement that you have paid 18,000, but not on your cash payments. So all you have to do here is to put it on your cash payments because it's not there. The money has already been embezzled, so it's gone. So you need to record that the money has gone out on your payments because the money is already out of your bank. So 18,000 stolen check. Okay, so all those are the transactions there. The next thing after entering all this is to find the totals. So if you add 35, 350, 2110, 30 and 360, you get 37,850. And then if you add 32,230 plus 22,000 plus 140 plus 250 plus 18,000, you should get 72,620. Right, so those are the totals of the cash receipts and cash payment. Now the total of cash receipts increases the bank account. Remember, cash receipts means money coming in. So cash receipts journal, 37,850. You put it on the debit side of the bank account. And then the cash payments journal, you transfer the total to the general ledger on the credit side of the bank account, 72,620. And then the total of the bigger side which is the credit side here, 72,620, is on both sides, 620. And then you find the difference of the smaller side. So minus 3370 minus 37,850, you get 31,400. That's your balance carried down. As you can see, it's unfavorable there because it's on the debit side. Right, now you come to your bank recon. You have entered everything into these accounts. So you also need to find the total there. So you figure out which side is bigger. This side looks bigger. So you add 32,402 plus 286 plus 319 plus 83. You get 33,090. And then that's 33,090 here. Now you find the difference of the smaller side, that's 31,400, and then you call it unfavorable balance as per bank account. Right. Now, if this amount is the same as what you got here, then it shows that your statement is correct. And as you can see, ours is balancing. Therefore, we did everything correctly. We did put all the transactions on the right side. We've come to the end of this video. If you want any tutorials, you are free to email oscardiura@gmail.com. Thank you.